Hi, hello and welcome. Welcome to Diablo 3, an action RPG game created by Blizzard. I've talked about this game many a times before in multiple series on my channel already, and I just wanted to show you guys around it a little bit in case you were wondering. We're not going to be playing this character today. This is my seasonal demon hunter. Seasonal is kind of a temporary mode where you have special benefits and you have special goals to complete, which you can see right here. I've already completed all of them. We're not gonna play this character right now. I am gonna show some of the footage from this character on screen right now so that you guys can get an idea of its playstyle and how it works, so that should be fun. You can see that I absolutely dominate things in the hardest game difficulty, so this character is kind of at the end of its game already. There's not much more for me to do with this character except for farming primals and stuff, but that's extremely RNG dependent late game stuff. What we are gonna do right now, it's gonna be quite a long video. It's gonna be a different video from normally. Here we have him, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Bertje. This is my hardcore seasonal monk. Monks are extremely strong this season, but hardcore, that's a different word, alright? And that means that if this guy dies, it's over. The character gets deleted and all the gear that he is wearing is lost. He is level 58. The maximum level in Diablo 3 is 70, so we have 12 levels to go, which is gonna take quite a while still. As you can see, he is not that decked out. He just has a bunch of random legendaries. These orange items, these legendaries often have quite strong effects, but he doesn't have any of them right now that give a very strong effect, except of course for the ethereal item. This one is light blue. This is new. This is the seasonal specific mechanic that they introduced in season 24, which is this one right now. These are extremely strong items. They share a passive with a random legendary weapon in-game, which is the hitting with Tempest Rush part right here, Tempest Rush being my right click skill. And they also get an added passive. You have 4 passives that you can choose, and this item just gives me a random one, which is Harmony right now. So Harmony is over here. 40% of my single elemental resistances from items instead transfer over to all elements, so that's very handy for being tanky. And being tanky and taking a hit is exactly what you want for your character when you're playing hardcore, because you don't want to die. I just thought I want to record something different than Lego Harry Potter, because I want to introduce some variety to my channel, but I also really feel like playing some Diablo, you know? And then the stars just aligned, and I had this idea, why don't I just show my last 12 couple of levels leveling this character? I've been doing this slowly but surely, just in rifts, which is very chill. There are definitely more efficient ways to level, but this is just a very calm one. I got really lucky with this ethereal. I got it on quite an early level, and also some other gear and stuff that I received was very beneficial for the leveling process, which is why it went by quite fast in the end. That's also why I am already playing on Torment 2 difficulty, which is quite a high difficulty if you're not familiar with Diablo 3. It's quite high for when you're just starting out. Level 59, there we go, 11 to go. I'm just gonna, I think, record the entire experience, but I'm gonna make sure that I don't run out of space if the video file gets too large or something, because then everything will be lost. I do hope that the video is a bit enjoyable to watch, because Diablo 3 can be quite hefty with the particles and all the things flying around, so maybe my PC will struggle sometimes. That's pretty much all the explanation there is to it right now. I also got some bracers that really help my skill out. They are right here. They are not right here. I didn't put them in my cube yet. I don't have them equipped right now. But either way, because of the ethereal item, it means that my right button, my right mouse button skill right here, Tempest Rush, is extremely strong. So that is just the main skill that I use to kill everything. The left mouse button is called Crippling Wave. It's an AoE attack, and I have the passive selected on it that gives me more of my spirit whenever I attack multiple targets. Spirit is the resource you see here on the right, the left one being health, of course. And that spirit is of course the thing I need to cast my damaging ability, Tempest Rush. This is it right here. When you see me spinning around like that, that is Tempest Rush. Games like this, action RPGs, are all about smashing up a whole bunch of monsters, of course, and then getting better at smashing up those same monsters. I almost just died right there. Yeah, I'm still playing hardcore. I shouldn't get too distracted. I'm gonna wait a second for the spell that you can see right here to come off cooldown, and then I'm gonna continue. Wow, my heartbeat just raised by 10,000, I think. What I was saying is, action RPGs are all about smashing up monsters and then getting better at doing that exact task in the future. I'm all shaken up. Jesus Christ. Plus 24% toughness. Yeah, we're gonna do that. We sacrifice a bit of our damage, but that is fine for some more survivability, because as you just saw, we can definitely still use some more survivability. I've never encountered anything like that in my entire leveling journey, so that's why I'm really scared. Luckily, I have my Enchantress with me, and she has this skill. When you take fatal damage, the Enchantress empowers you to move through time, slowing the world around you to avoid death. Whew, we're just gonna be waiting 1 more minute. Games like this are probably more fit for for Twitch, for streaming, because it's most of the time pretty monotone and you always are doing the same thing. So it's an amazing game to interact with your stream audience a bit, you know. You guys would also be able to ask me questions about Diablo or something, for example, because I'm not the best Diablo player out there, but I do consider myself being quite knowledgeable about the game. What does he have? Frozen, Teleporter, Waller. So did I like not see the frozen balls for a second, or I really wonder what killed me so fast. These things on the ground, they are sometimes hard to see, especially in a map like this where it's already snowing, but 8 more seconds and then I will fight you, buddy. Just be patient for a second. 3, 2, 1. Alright, let's try and kill him this time without just getting blown up in 1 second. I must have missed those balls, right? There's no other explanation, I think. Even though it is normally suited for streaming, I watched another person leveling just yesterday. I watched almost the entirety of his leveling process. He uploaded a 10-hour long video to YouTube about his leveling process. And now you might think, if leveling in its entirety is 10 hours long, isn't this video gonna be like 2 hours long? But no, that's not the case, because his 10-hour journey was really about getting a good character. So not only did he level to level 70, which is the max level like I said, he also kept playing until he got his build. So he kept farming the late game content, which is exactly what I'm doing now, but now it's not late game because it's still at a very low difficulty. He kept farming that up until he got the build that he wanted. So in the end, he leveled for 3 hours, 3 out of the 10 hours, and then 7 other hours were used to get his set that he wanted, which is extremely fast to do in just one sitting. But I don't think my video is going to be 10 hours long, or I hope so, because that's going to be a lot of editing. It's only going to be lightly edited though. This is more going to be kind of a podcasty kind of vibe, this series, or maybe just this single video, I think. I'm just going to ramble on a bit. Already level 60 by the way, 10 more levels to go. It's going quite fast. That is of course mostly thanks to this piece of garbage right here. You can see the legendary passive that it gives. Increase the effect of any gem socketed into this item by 84%. Now we see that my gem is a ruby, which gives me more experience, so that makes me level even faster. Having a Leoric's crown like that item that I just showcased to you, that is one of the staples in Diablo leveling. It's the same as having a tabula rasa in Path of Exile, if you're more familiar with that game. Although maybe having a tabula rasa while leveling in Path of Exile is a bit more impactful than having a Leoric's crown in Diablo, but still. Normally I never play a hardcore character because my internet is just too bad. So far I've had only 1 connection drop on this character. As you can see, I just teleported. That is also because of my internet. I have had just 1 disconnect so far, but I survived that luckily enough because I think that I was just standing in town or something. I wasn't doing anything too crazy. But yeah, I've been playing so much this season and I really enjoy the new ethereal mechanics and stuff. That's why I decided to give hardcore a go, especially on this one. It's also a season where I've been watching a lot of other Diablo content creators, or well, maybe just one specifically, but watching a lot of his content about the very late game stuff and things like that, because he is rank 1 on most of his characters in some of the classes. Rank 1 means that a certain late game dungeon, which is called Greater Rifts, rank 1 person means that he can clear the highest level of that dungeon. And he also plays hardcore, and it looked quite fun, quite challenging. But you do of course have to deal with the fact that any second it might be over. Your character might just die right in front of your eyes, and that is a lot of hours lost. That is normally why I don't play hardcore at all, because that just doesn't appeal to me. Not that I don't like a challenge, it's not that, but just losing my character to disconnections would make me really sad. Level 61, 9 to go, going quite a lot faster than I expected it to. Oh, we unlocked Epiphany, that's so great. That's one of the staple monk skills out there, but normally it's not really used that often for just low level monks still, or well, not max level monks. I'm thinking about what I might replace it with, which skill that I do not use so often, but I think I'm just gonna leave the build as is for now. I'm used to this set of skills, so I'm just gonna continue this one up until level 70, and then I might look into what I actually want to play. It might also be the case that I'm just gonna level this character to 70 just for the challenge of getting that leveling experience in there, but that I don't play any more on it after that. Alright, in a bit of trouble there for a second, but we should be fine. Let's pop our health potion. As long as our survivability passive with our enchantress has not popped yet, I am still feeling safe. This is the Rift Guardian. As I said, we're doing a piece of late game content normally, which is called Rifts. It's kind of a dungeon, you know. Now, this Rift Guardian, that is kind of the final boss. You unlock his spawn by killing a whole bunch of other minions in the... well, not minions, a whole bunch of other monsters in the Rift. Whew. Oh, Jesus, right, and he teleports right behind you, by the way, also. So this is kind of the final boss of this single instant dungeon, this instanced dungeon. And once you kill him, you get the beneficial loot and you are able to close the rift down. This guy, the Rift Guardians all have different effects. This guy seems to have the effect of a bunch of normal elite monsters that you can encounter, because he spawns those arcane beams which can really hurt you a lot. He also seems to be a jailer and stuff like that. I'm just gonna pay attention for a second and try and kill him without him killing me, if that is okay. His slow effect is pretty annoying. We do have him at half health already, which is nice. My spirit levels are not so high, that is sad. I should remember to dash a bit more, because I have an item, if I'm not mistaken. No, I don't. I haven't been wearing it anymore, that's fine. I used to have a second fist weapon that read like, whenever you use dash, which is this ability right here, you get a really big toughness bonus for a second, but I discarded it for a shield that gave me some more sheet toughness. Sheet toughness, that is talking about this character sheet right here. You can see toughness, so sheet is just like the basic measure, the number that it gives right there. Alright, I want to get out of here because this area is a bit too tight for fighting a boss. This is the part of the rift that I mostly struggle with, because the Tempest Rush, which is my main ability right here, is one that is great for clearing a bunch of trash mobs and stuff like that, but it is not great for fighting bosses. It has more sustained small bursts of damage, and for a boss you need one big burst, of course, and single target damage, which is not the main focus of this skill either. I'm just dragging him along for a second. Try to get him a bit out of his beams. He is of course spawning new ones as well, but oh, we can get some nice damage in right here. Don't run out of spirit. Keep your defensives up. There we are. Whew. That's quite stressful. A legendary sword. That might be helpful. Alright, so that is one rift completed. Now, when you're really late game and you're strong, with my other character I showed you that in the introduction of this video, you can complete these rifts at max level in like an instant. But for me, it's still quite slow right now. Let's see what this sword has to offer for us. It's just a random legendary. The effects are probably not gonna be too beneficial, but here we encounter some problems. My ethereal, I found that at level 25 or something. You can see it right there, that the required level is 25. That means that it is extremely bad, actually. The effect on it is just too strong to pass up though. So I think I'm gonna replace the shield. I think I'm gonna do it like this. Yeah, I'm gonna do it like this. I still want this effect, this legendary effect, because it is my main source of damage, so that's why I'm not getting rid of the weapon, even though the weapon we just found is a lot better. Alright, level 62, 8 to go. Been playing for only 15 minutes. Let's jump straight into another rift. Those orbs you see on the ground, you get those from killing elite or champion monsters, which are the blue or the yellow monsters. The yellow monsters are actually called elites, and they spawn alone with a bunch of normal minions. Those minions are just stronger versions of monsters that you can encounter anywhere. The champions, they are blue and they spawn in packs of 3 to 5 or 6 or something like that, I think. They don't spawn with minions, but they are with multiple monsters on their own. Here is another yellow one. So generally the strategy that you employ in rifting in Diablo is jumping around using something like this dash, for example, up until you find yellow or blue monsters, and then you just kill them. Because those orbs that they drop, they really fill up the bar right here that indicates when the Rift Guardian, the final boss we just struggled with, is gonna spawn. Just killing regular monsters fills it up rather slowly though. A lot slower than when you would jump around and kill yellow and blue monsters like this one. Or these ones, because as you saw right there, these blue ones were with multiple. 63, 7 to go. We might actually make it without dying. It would be a nice achievement, but if I play again next season, I'm definitely not gonna start off as a hardcore character. It's just not worth it for me. In Path of Exile, I also played a hardcore character once, and in the end it also died to a disconnection of my internet, so that just feels bad. If you die because you make a mistake, that's fine. I mean, that's your problem and you should have played better, but if your internet drops out and you just restart your game after that and you see that your character is grayed out because it's dead, that's a really, really poor feeling. A fist weapon, eh? Might be interesting. If we find a weapon that has this passive on it for the Tempest Rush, we can use that and replace our ethereal, but I don't think we are gonna find it because I think it's a two-handed weapon. This could also be nice though. Exploding palms on that explosion damage is increased by a lot, so exploding palm could become our main damaging skill, but I'm just gonna keep it like this for now. I don't want to change too many things up because this formula is working, you know? I had a lot of fun leveling up my Demon Hunter in my normal seasonal playthrough this season. A big factor in that is that I had a lot of luck collecting the set pieces that I needed for the build that I actually wanted to play. And now I am almost equipped with full Asians, I think, on that character. So that is really like the sign that you played a lot. I also have 1100 Paragon levels, which are levels that you gain after level 70 that give you like some boosts but not new skills. And that is quite high. That is a number that you would normally see streamers achieve. They achieve it in like the second day after the expansion coming out or something like that, but that's fine. If you do enjoy things like this, very grindy games where I give some laid back commentary on top of it, you can definitely let me know. Or if there's another game that you would really like to see me play, you can definitely let me know as well, and I'll see what I can do. You don't have to tell me I have to play Lego Harry Potter or Lego Lord of the Rings, because I'm already planning on finishing that first game and playing that second game. I do think that introducing some more variety on my channel is not gonna be helped if I play Lego Harry Potter and Lego Lord of the Rings at the same time, because those games are way too similar. I could start up a new series of something that runs a bit longer, or I could keep doing something like this Diablo video, for example, where I just play something that I am playing at the moment and I don't make it into an entire series. It's just more of a one-off, maybe two-off kind of thing. Level 64, 4 to go, or 6 to go. I'm quickly gonna check near-death experience. That's something that we definitely need to activate. Yeah, we're gonna replace this one with near-death experience, because that is another defensive passive for us. So that is another one of those abilities where if we would normally die, we survive for a bit longer. Something desperately needed in hardcore. I spent the weekend in Leuven, actually, in the student city where I go to. Even though I am on summer break, my girlfriend has some exams that she needs to redo, so she was staying in our student home for a second to study for them. I had some meetings with some friends, or well, some just dates, I guess, with some friends. We went out for some drinks and stuff the past couple of days, so staying in Leuven for a second was easier for me as well. My girlfriend had an exam on Friday, which is also the day I went to Leuven. After her exam, we had some nice dinner at an Indian restaurant. That's a type of cuisine that I've always wanted to try on a more serious level, like on a restaurant level, I suppose. But I have never had the opportunity to do so up until Friday. My girlfriend actually surprised me with the reservation. I knew that we were gonna eat somewhere, but she didn't tell me where she had booked the table for us. So that was a nice surprise, realizing that it was a kind of cuisine and a kind of restaurant that I wanted to try out for a while already. We both decided to go for like a thali. I might be butchering that completely, but it was kind of a collection of smaller dishes, you know, and it said in the menu that that was a great way to introduce yourself to Indian cuisine and to the restaurant's options as well. And our combination was vegan, so all the dishes that we received had no meat, no cheese, no eggs, no milk, no things like that. And it was absolutely delicious. There were definitely some flavors that hit you in the face like a truck, you know, and you really need to get used to those, because they are not flavors that we are used to in our Belgian kitchen. There was, for example, this one dish that had roasted aubergines, or well, eggplants, but they called it aubergines. I guess you can call them both ways. And that really had this weird flavor, just something that we don't know in our kitchen at all. So at the start, the first bites were a bit like, damn, what am I eating right now? This feels weird. But then once you really get into it and you start to enjoy it, you really enjoy it. Another thing on the plate was lentil curry, which was really soft and, well, just all in all nice tasting, hearty. Then there was also an extremely spicy dish. Most people instantly think about spicy food when they think about Indian food, but it doesn't all have to be that way, that's for sure. But that one little dish right there, it had some red sauce and it had 2 potatoes, I remember vividly, or no, 3 small potatoes in it. And the woman that gave the explanation for the dishes was like, yeah, this is something quite spicy, but it is kind of oniony spicy, you know what I mean? It has a lot of red onion in it. And we were like, oh yeah, that sounds really nice. And it did have a lot of red onion in it, that's for sure. But I think it was equal parts red onion, equal parts just jalapeno pepper or something like that. I think literally injecting Tabasco into your eye socket might have been a bit less painful for your stomach and the rest of your body than eating that dish. Which is not to say that it was not absolutely delicious, because it was. The onion flavor really was there. And even though sometimes it got filtered out a bit because your mouth was so on fire, if you really took your time and you appreciated the dish for what it was still extremely delicious. We are definitely going back there, that's for sure, but it is quite pricey for students to go there. We did it Friday because it was kind of a little celebration and just my girlfriend's break from studying for a second. If we go there again the next time, I'm definitely getting the tikka masala butter chicken. I think that is a staple in Indian cuisine. Don't quote me on that. Quote me though. If you get that reference, that's 28 respect points, because that is a very niche and obscure reference from a random YouTube video. only one person might get that, and that is Krogrin, my buddy. But I think butter chicken or chicken tikka masala is one of the staples in Indian cuisine, as I was saying, and that is something that I desperately also want to try at restaurant level. I've had it only once before, just at home, and that was kind of like a heat up meal that you just put in the microwave, so I don't think that even comes close to what you would get in the restaurant. And in that dish you can recognize again that Indian food doesn't have to be spicy. It can be hearty and really soft for your palate and enjoyable. I quite enjoy spicy food, so I am lucky in that front. But all I want to get at is that people who don't necessarily enjoy spicy food can still have a delicious Indian meal. We are gonna be making a flawless Imperial Ruby, which is a great gem for us. And that gives us a bunch more experience. So that's gonna make the last bits of leveling that we still have in front of us right here a bit more quick and a bit more enjoyable. I am gambling for boots all the time, by the way, because I know that this update features some of the strongest boots in the game for Monk. They made a change to the crudest boots, which is a legendary you can get, and that makes your mystic ally a lot stronger. They're right here, I think, because I had them at like level 1, which made... yeah, here they are. This made the level 1 up until level 20 experience quite a lot faster, but in the end they have to get replaced with some just yellow boots with higher resistances, of course. Let's just jump back into the rift and explore what this one has to offer for us. As I told you guys, my FPS might not always be 60, the bitrate might not always stay extremely high because I have set it to variable bitrate, so if my PC feels that it has a bit too large of a strain on it, or it just notifies me that there's like a cutscene going on or something where it has to render a bit less, it lowers the bitrate on its own, so that makes the screen a bit less clear, or well, what is displayed on the screen a bit less clear. It does make the file size a bit smaller and stuff like that. A lot of blue minions next together in this one, which is nice. It makes it a lot quicker, but it's also dangerous, of course. Let's get out of here for a second before our defensives are popped. Oh, there's a conduit pylon, that's fun. Pylons are kind of buffs that you can find around the rift, and they appear in these large pillars. And this one is a conduit pylon, which just shoots lightning at all the enemies around you. And at this low level, it's still very strong. So as you can see right here, we almost demolished the yellow minion. So that is one of the handiest pylons to get at a low level. But the fact that it's so strong at the lower level is countered by the fact that at this low of a level, the rifts contain almost no enemies sometimes, so you won't get the maximum use out of it. In the upper right corner right there, you can see a blue goblin. Treasure goblins are minions that can spawn randomly and they drop a whole bunch of treasure, hence the name treasure goblin. Now this one is a blue one, which is one of the rarer ones, and it splits up into smaller goblins. I'm gonna try and see if I can kill it, but I might have some trouble. It's gonna split up now. I'm gonna refill my spirit for a second. Here we go. And now they're gonna run in separate ways probably. I'm just gonna focus on one. I'm not strong enough on this difficulty to kill all of them. I'm just gonna focus on this one, which will then split up one more time. And then let's try to kill all of these ones. Alright, we did kill 2 of them, but that is quite a poor haul in the end. If you do manage to kill all of the blue goblins, they just drop a whole bunch of stuff. Some nice defensive upgrades though. There we are. Oh, that amulet really is awesome for us. Level 66, 4 levels to go. I was also supposed to go out for drinks, to come back to the Leuven topic. I was also supposed to go out for drinks yesterday, but the person that I was supposed to go out for drinks with kind of... well, no, she didn't ghost me because she did say that she was not coming, but it was because she had drank too much the day before, so she was suffering too much from a hangover. Which is kind of a lame reason, not gonna lie, it's kind of a lame reason to not show up with a date with your buddy, but that's fine. It did mean, however, that I spent almost the entire day just sitting inside, and that is where I watched the entire leveling experience of one guy on Diablo 3. There were definitely better ways to spend my time, but I only had my laptop and not my full-fledged gaming PC, so I didn't have that much to choose from. I definitely could have been reading some more though, but that's fine. As soon as I wanted to leave yesterday evening, my girlfriend kind of had a tough moment for a second. I'm just gonna say it like it is, she had a bit of a mental breakdown. And when studying for exams, I am known to have a bunch of those as well, so I definitely understood what she was going through. And she almost like begged me not to go because she really liked just the idea that I was downstairs and that I was gonna be able to sleep next to her at night and stuff. So I graciously accepted her offer, of course, or well, her begs maybe, and I stayed another night. That it meant that I had to cancel another date I had with some other friends back home because I was not able to get back home because I needed to stay in Leuven. That was quite sad, but in the end I knew that she would have done the same for me, of course. In a relationship you have to be supportive for each other, and sometimes that means giving up some of the needs of your other friends. You don't have to do that all the time though, because that is definitely the sign that your relationship is putting some unhealthy boundaries, or well, that you're not putting enough boundaries because of your relationship and you're giving up some of your friends because of it. And the real red flag, the biggest red flag out there, is if your girlfriend or boyfriend kind of prohibits you from going out with friends. Then you should really start thinking about like what the hell is going on right here. I do hear some more treasure goblins, and we do get a nice conduit pylon right next to him. That's really gonna help us out. It is a materials goblin. Crafting materials. Crafting is more of an endgame mechanic, so we might not really benefit from that after all if I do decide not to play on this one anymore. Alright, this is a big moment. This rift right here is really spread out. There's a bunch of monsters anywhere, so using our conduit pylon to its maximum potential right here is important for the progress. I say that as I'm picking up stuff in a corner where the conduit pylon can hit anyone, but I think we did clear out 2 blue packs with that, right? So that's gonna be a bunch of XP. But we did not completely clear this one out, but we did put it at low health. There we go. A new shield maybe? Nope. Oh, we leveled somewhere. Only 3 levels remaining. Didn't notice it. Normally all videos on this channel are kind of part of a series, of a playlist of videos. I very rarely make one-off type of content, but I think that I might indulge into it a bit more because that makes it a lot easier to introduce variety in your content, of course. If you're not in a series, you don't have a series to finish, you know? I do think, sadly, that the type of content that I am originally making, which consists of those series and stuff, is kind of dying out on YouTube. I just make it because I really like that format, and I have watched probably more than 1,000 hours of it. Well, definitely a lot more than 1,000 hours of it throughout my lifespan. 1,000 hours really is quite a large understatement. Just a long Let's Plays, you know, with really chill commentary and just the same person watch him play a game. That's probably the content that I watch the most on YouTube. And I enjoyed it so much every time I was watching it that is definitely the type of content I want to make on YouTube. Maybe a bit more edited than some of the people that I watch, but still. But sadly, I think that version of content, or that type of content, really is dying out. I don't think a lot of people are still interested in that. And I, of course, think that making something that I want to make is important. More important than making something that the people want to see. But then again, if really nobody wants to see what I'm making anymore, well, that's not gonna be so enjoyable for me in the long run either, I think. I'm gonna wait for a second for my defensive passive to calm down. 1 minute. I do have this one still, the near-death experience, if it would really get tied up in here, but that's fine. There we are. Took a nice sip of water in the meantime, which is something I desperately needed because I can feel my throat getting a bit sour from all the talking I'm doing. Mad respect for Twitch streamers and for teachers also, because they also need to talk for hours on end. I've just been talking for like 45 minutes right now and I already feel it. I definitely could have streamed this as well, you know. I talked about earlier how this content might be a bit more fit for a stream, but how I decided to record it. If I did decide to stream though, I should have done it late at night probably, when some random people on Twitch might just randomly click my stream. Because I think that most of my real life friends that would normally watch my stream are a bit too busy with other things right now to watch this, and especially in the middle of the day. Coming back to the Indian restaurant where we were, there is one small little anecdote which I want to tell about that. I am really quite glad that I have become quite proficient at filtering out noise in the context when I don't want to hear it, and I didn't really listen to what the table next to us were saying. I did pick up some of the parts of their conversation, that was already enough for me to decide not to listen to any more of it. My girlfriend did listen to it a bit more often though, and she explained to me afterwards what they were saying, and it was quite typical. There we are, 2 more levels. Considering the fact that I told you that we took a vegan dish, and Indian cuisine is sometimes vegan because they don't work with cheese and stuff all that often, I do believe, like most Asian cuisines. You can already, I think, see where this might be going. There we were, just enjoying our meal at one table, and then one table over, the table next to us, we had the typical Belgian male person, you know? Now, I don't want to hold any prejudice, you know, I mean, it can happen to other nationalities and stuff as well, but I think that especially in our beautiful little country right here, there is still a lot of people that run around like that, giving criticism to people being vegan. Now, if you don't understand it, that's fine. And if you don't want to do it, that's completely fine. I'm not vegan either, I'm not vegetarian, but I understand people that want to do it and I just let them do their thing. If you are actively seeking out kind of arguments and points so that it seems that eating meat and stuff is better and vegans are the weird ones and you don't understand at all why they do it and this and that, and you just have an hour-long conversation at your table about it, then you're in the wrong. Then you should think about what you're doing for a second. Those are also often the kind of people that keep repeating the same points about it, and that's something that that guy next to us did as well, my girlfriend told me. And especially when you can notice that the other people at your table are just like, haha, yeah, even the first time, or especially one of the other times that you keep repeating yourself, just switch the subject, man. Talk about something else. You do have something else to talk about, right? But like I said, I do understand that some people find it weird that other people are vegan. It is definitely not what we are used to, you know. We are used to eating meat and stuff, and we always get taught from a young age like eating meat is very normal. I was a vegetarian for 2 years in my life. I believe it was almost 2 years, and I must say that it was a lot easier than I expected. And even now when I tell people that, a lot of them go, oh, that must have been so hard for you, how did you even manage that? But really, it's quite easy, especially now that there are more and more options for those kinds of people out there. I do think it's also become quite a controversial subject, people being vegan and vegetarian, but I think it's something important to talk about, because I'm not gonna say that everybody needs to become a vegetarian, because that's just insane. That's not what I'm trying to get at all, and a lot of people will find, well, they think automatically, I believe, that people that are vegetarian think that way. But I mean, we are gonna have to rethink our strategy of food consumption a bit, I believe, because I know for a fact that meat production is one of the most polluting things for the environment in the world. It requires a whole lot of water to bring a cow to a point where it can be, well, slaughtered for its meat, and then the production of that meat from a living cow up until something that is on your plate also costs a whole lot of water, and that's bad for the environment. I do think about that, and me and my girlfriend, we eat vegetarian food sometimes in our student home, sometimes. And I think that most, or at least more people should just try to do that as well. Just don't eat meat on like 1 day of the week, something like that. It doesn't even have to be that extreme. 1 day every 2 weeks, just start somewhere, because I think that if everybody, but really everybody, would do it like that, that could already make like a very big impact. But I don't have enough knowledge about all those things to really emphasize like, oh, you should do this and this and this, because I know, but it's just my intuition tells me that that would already be great for the world. Yeah, I just have a bunch of respect for people that are vegan and vegetarian, of course. One of my best friends in high school was vegetarian because she just hated the taste of meat. It was not really for the animals or something like that. She just really didn't like eating meat at all. And she was like an amazing person. So while some people might think of other kinds of persons when they think about veganism and being vegetarian, like people that automatically try to convince you that that is the right thing to do, and so I have this image of vegetarian and vegan people in my head that is a bit more optimistic. My ex-girlfriend, whom I had one of the first like really serious relationships with in my life, also was vegetarian, and that's exactly the period I became vegetarian for 2 years as well. It was just a bit easier to both be that, you know? And I also just wanted to give it a try, and I did succeed. I do believe, I don't remember it completely because it's been like 4 years or 5 years already, but I do believe there must have been an occasion or 2 or 3 where I did eat meat in those 2 years, but 2 or 3 days in like 700 days or something like that, a bit more probably, that's quite good, I imagine. Even when we got fries at home, which is one of the Belgian staple foods, and a lot of people say I can become a vegetarian because of the fries, I need my vleesje with that, but even then it was fine because the place that we went to for our fries had some great vegetarian options, some beautiful vegetarian hamburgers. And I also had the luck with having amazing supportive parents that were like, alright, we'll cook vegetarian food for you, we'll just cook substitutes for you while we still eat meat. And every Wednesday when we ate spaghetti, because Wednesday was spaghetti day, they even ate vegetarian meat with me, or well, a meat substitute with me. The leveling sure has slowed down a bit, I think I'm gonna lower the difficulty 1 to tournament 1 if we do need to do another rift after this one. 1 more level to go. Level 69. Oh man. You know what I'm gonna do later today? Have a guess. Once you see me getting this excited, some of you that watch most of my videos will already know what I'm gonna get at, but I'm gonna go out for a nice little run later today. My favorite running partner did have just one condition on which she would like to go running, of course, and that is that it was not raining too hard. Last time we ran, it was raining a bit, and it was really a fun experience. It was quite cooling, actually. But if it's like really raining cats and dogs, that's something that's not gonna be nice. So I really hope that the weather is gonna stay like this, where it's kind of gray outside. You can't see it because of the light settings of the camera and things like that, but it's really kind of gray outside, kind of sad looking. But that is perfect run weather most of the time, because that means that the air is a bit humid, just a little bit, not something that you feel like you're sweating constantly, but it's quite refreshing on your face, you know. It feels a bit colder than normal air, and just the fact that the sun is not shining is most of the time also nice when you're running, because if you really keep running in just constant sunlight, you will get burnt and you will sweat like a truck. Sweat like a truck, by the way. Trucks very well known for their sweating capacities. I meant to say something like sweat a truckload, but you guys get what I'm saying, I'm sure about that. We are of course gonna go for our fateful 5-kilometer route probably. We also have a route for like 7 kilometers, but we haven't done that in a while. After we get to her home though, I often have some running to do still before I get home. So in the end, instead of 5 kilometers, I end up at 6.4 kilometers or something like that. With a small walking break between the 5th kilometer and the start of the 6th kilometer. But I'm still very proud of that achievement, you know? If you're looking to get into running, the only advice that I can give you, and that you have probably heard from a billion other people, is go. Don't doubt about it. Don't be doubtful about it. Don't be like, oh, do I have the right shoes? What if I don't find the right route to run? What if the ground is too hard for my feet? No, you just have to go. You just have to leave your house and start running. Even if you go for 500 meters and you're just completely dead, you did it. You went out for a run, you know? At the start, I could run like 300 meters and then I would be knocked out. I couldn't go any further. The first time I ran for an entire kilometer, I was euphoric, really. Like, it was an amazing experience for me. And I'm not gonna lie. I mean, almost everybody in this entire world thinks that running sucks. Even people that run sometimes say to me, running sucks, I don't like doing it, I do it purely for being in shape. But there are some lucky few out there, and I do think that I am one of those people that enjoy the activity in itself, you know. It's something that has to grow on you, and I'm not gonna promise that it will grow on you, because as I said, some people just keep thinking that they keep disliking running. But you should definitely give it a try if you even thought about it 1 second. Just put on your most sporty pair of shoes and go for a small little run and just see what that does for you. And if you enjoy that, you can look for some start to run exercises, for example. Those are programs that tell you like, okay, on this day you need to run 5 minutes and then walk a minute and then run another 5 minutes and things like that. Most of them have 5 kilometers as an end goal, or well, most of them here in Belgium. In places like America where they work with miles, the goals might be a bit different, but just do it. Shia LaBeouf quote, just do it. If you got that one before I said Shia LaBeouf, you get half a respect point, because that's really a well-known meme. One more tip that I can give is run together with someone, because that is gonna be a lot easier to stay at a constant tempo. If you do find yourself needing to run alone, put on an audiobook or a podcast. I'm not even gonna bother with this blood goblin. Put on an audiobook or a podcast. You don't necessarily have to put on music right from the get-go, because most of the, well, popular music, which is pop music as well, is kind of upbeat and it's a bit fast. And if you try to run at the tempo of that music, you will get worn out rather quickly, I can assure you that. Well, I can't assure you that. If you're someone that is already in great condition and you already practice some sports and you want to pick up running as just something extra, you might not experience it that way, but still. For someone that is really new to any kind of sport at all and wants to try out running, don't immediately start doing it with music, because you will most likely be running way too quickly when you try to follow the music. I'm sure that you could also look up some music that is... We're gonna get the hell out of here for a second, because that was our other defensive and that has never popped. There's just a lot going on the other side of this, right? But look at how close we are. Are we gonna pussy out? You know, we might just pussy out for a second. I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna pussy out, and I'm gonna finish off this leveling experience in the zone where most people go to level, which is in Act 1, the Halls of Agony. I know. It's some pussy shit. I definitely understand that you feel that way and you might feel cheated, but I don't want to die at level 69 at like 90% up until the last level, you know, so you are just gonna have to deal with it. I'm playing, not you. Jesus Christ. Alright, this is it. You have no idea how close I just came to dying. I'm level 69, look at this. I have 1 bar to go. Lower the difficulty, you absolute maniac. My heart rate, it's probably like 250 right about now. Which would mean that I would probably drop that, but still. For comedic effect, of course. Let's finish it off nice and easy. Master difficulty. Those last 12 levels in the end took a bit more than an hour, so we're definitely gonna have enough content for you to have a bit of a laugh or just enjoy yourself if you do enjoy this type of long, stretched out content. I rambled on a lot about nothing and everything at all at the same time, just like Green Day says in one of their songs, I believe. But it does feel nice to know that I can still do that, you know. I can ramble on for hours if I do want to, which is great for my future streaming career if I do feel like I want to endeavor in that front. These guys and then this one. All right. Let's see. Ah, level 70 on the hardcore character. Whew. That feels nice. That's quite the achievement, you know. That's not something that everyone has the patience for. But we did do it. Level 70. Feels great. Feels amazing. Let's gamble for 1 item. Boots. Didn't get anything great. But yeah, there we go, you guys. 12 last levels in Diablo achieved right now. Level 70. All skill slots unlocked. If I really do want to play further on this character, I'm gonna have to look up a build probably, but I don't think I'm gonna do that because it's gonna cost me 10 years of my life probably. I hope you enjoyed that little podcasty adventure we had right there. 12 levels gained, and we are at the end game now if we really would start playing, which I'm probably not gonna do because I'm too big of a pussy. 12 levels gained in the span of about an hour. I hope you found it a little interesting. If you didn't, you wouldn't still be here because this video has probably been going on for 45 minutes. Yeah, look forward to some more variety on my channel, some more random things like this. I have to get something out there, you know. Most of the time I think I'm not gonna record that. That's not gonna make for a fun viewing experience, but I need to show the people things. All kinds of things. That's why you can subscribe to my OnlyFans right now at... Isn't OnlyFans gonna ban nudity? I can't even make jokes like that anymore. You're gonna have to wait for another platform to arise before seeing my beautiful bleached asshole. Thanks a lot for enjoying this leveling experience with me, or at least the end of it. And I hope to see you in the next video, whatever it might be, while I smack my microphone, which is gonna be an extremely annoying noise for you. Bye bye.